Thank you to our guests for coming today. I want to start with you, Attorney General Ellison. In an interview with CNN host Laura Coates, she asked you about whether or not you did enough to stop the fraud. Do you remember that interview, Attorney General?
Congressman, I got to admit that I don't remember the details.
Can we play the video, please? So, to refresh Mr. Ellison's memory.
Are we ready to? It may take us a second on that. I'm sorry.
Okay, I'll just tell you what you said when she asked you if you'd done enough to stop the fraud, and she mentioned the $9 billion. You said, "Of course we have done enough. We're doing more every single day. This is a political matter. This is not a serious thing." Do you remember saying that, Attorney General Ellison?
I remember the conversation. What I remember was that I was lamenting the politicized nature of this very serious problem.
Well, you said it's not a serious thing. So now you're saying
fraud is a serious thing.
Okay, well that's not what you said on CNN, Mr. Ellison. You said this is a political matter, and this is a quote, "This is not a serious thing." So I notice you're changing your tune now that you're before the House Oversight Committee.
I would have to.
Do you understand, Mr. Attorney General, why this adds gasoline to the fire when Americans are so frustrated with this government for their out-of-control spending and the amount of money they pay in taxes, and then to see $9 billion of it, an estimate of $9 billion getting stolen of their taxpayer dollars and being used to fund cars and vacations and homes and even fund terrorism? Do you understand how statements like that throw gasoline on the fire, sir?
Congressman, I believe that you are mischaracterizing what I said.
No, I actually read you the quote. I'm not
And
mischaracterizing
Mr. Crane, that
it
video
all.
is ready if you still want it. It's up to you.
Yeah, let's play it, please.
Is that there has been hundreds of millions of dollars, but now there are some estimates that there could be $9 billion or more. And Noam was just suggesting they took hundreds of people off the street who were involved in fraud. Are you confident your office has done enough?
Of course, we've done enough, and we're doing more every single day. This is a political matter. This is not a serious thing.
So how are you going to sit here, Attorney General, saying I'm mischaracterizing? I read word for word your quote. I then showed it to the entire dais, the entire audience here today. How are you going to sit here and say that I mischaracterized you?
Congressman, I believe you mischaracterized me, because clearly what I was referring to by not serious is that the serious issue of fraud is being politicized and converted into a political weapon. That is not a serious matter in my view. That is something that I believe all of us should take seriously, but we're not taking seriously enough. So, sir, I would say very clearly, fraud is a odious, horrible, malignant thing, and that's why it should not be turned into a political weapon. But we should come together on a bipartisan basis.
The reason it's becoming political, sir, is because of statements like that when confronted with the $9 billion of fraud in your state as the top cop in your state that you're clearly not doing enough to address. I want to move on. Reverend Tolagard, you said in your opening statement that today's hearing is about fraud in Minnesota, quote, unquote, which is serving as a pretext for the terror the federal government has brought to the people of Minnesota. This fraud has been used as a rationale for deploying 3,000 federal immigrant enforcement agents into our state. Did you say that, Reverend?
Yes.
This is absolutely false. These federal agents were actually brought in to the state of Minnesota for a very specific operation to remove illegal alien criminals. It wasn't because of the fraud. That's being handled under a completely different agency and ICE and everything else. That's the U.S. District Attorney, okay? Did you know that?
The administration has linked all of these things together.
Well, they've linked the fact that you guys supported an open border that let in $15 to $20 million, and some of the fallout from that is fraud, like the $9 billion we're talking about today. Some of it are the rapists, the gangsters, the people that are committing fraud. They're burglarizing people, they're carjacking people. It's all kind of linked together. It's also linked to the SAVE Act, which many of you guys and my Democrat colleagues don't want to vote for, even though 83% of Americans support it. It's all linked together, but that's not what this operation was about. So you're bearing false witness in this hearing today, because that's not what that operation was about at all.
What I'm here to talk about is the suffering of Minnesotans at the hands of federal agents, including children and their parents, and the great devastation and harm that it has caused across our state and across our wonderful communities.
Have you spoken out about
Mr.
Lake and
Chairman,
Riley
he's
or any
over
of the
his time.
American victims that have been raped, murdered, or killed by these illegal aliens, Reverend? I didn't think so. I yield back.
Let's talk to Mr. Ellison. Mr. Ellison, isn't it true that when you were a member of Congress, you sponsored the Money Remittances Improvement Act of 2014? It was H.R. 4386. Do you remember that?
Congressman, I think that's accurate.
Yeah, I mean, I get you. We all introduced lots of bills. But that bill's purpose was to give more authority to states to investigate remittance payments. Do you remember that?
Congressman, I believe that the purpose of that bill was to facilitate financial transactions for Minnesotans who needed them.
Well, in reality, you shifted remittance payment investigations to the states, and that was supported by the Somali American Remittances Association. You may not remember that, but that was.
Congressman, could you remind me, did that bill ever pass?
H.R. 4386. So it was supported by the Somali American Resistance Association, and it was so important to you. You said, quote, "This is a great day for diaspora communities around the country, including the Somali and Hmong communities." And that's something you said, and we know that the Somali population in Minnesota supported that bill. That bill was passed, I believe, in 2014. Minnesota started identifying large numbers of remittances payments going overseas. And isn't it true that within 4 years of the bill passing, more than $100 million had been flown out of the Minneapolis airport by Somalians? Do you know that?
I don't have the information on that.
And then over the last 2 years, the TSA has identified over $700 million being flown out and linked to Somali travel. Are you familiar with that?
No, sir, I don't have the data on that.
Under your tenure as the AG, the amount of remittance payments going to Somalia, which, by the way, some estimates as high as 40% of all Somalia's GDP comes from those remittance payments, and roughly 40% of families in Somalia receive some benefit, economic benefit directly from some remittance payments. So, moving from that, do you know Salim Saeed?
That name is not familiar to me, sir.
Ikram Mohammed?
No.
Abshir Omar?
No.
Okay, so in 2021, you met with a group of Somalis, business people. Those three people were there. Safari Restaurant, Partners in Quality Care, also known as Parties in Nutrition, some of their named partners, and Feeding Our Future representatives, including Abshir Omar, who said they were having difficulties because they were being investigated, and that conduct is very racist, xenophobic, and Islamophobic. Do you remember that meeting?
Yes, I do. And I'll tell you that these are people who were fraudsters. They lied to me. They lied to the judge.
Yep.
They lied to state agencies.
And, well,
that's why we contributed to them being convicted.
Well, let's go on from that, because you may not remember some of the things you said to them. Specifically, and maybe we should play this video. I don't know if do we have the video queued up? If we have the video queued up, well, that's fine. Let's do it.
You call them and say, this is not in the right format. Not you're out. You're done. Your contracts are over. And so this has my attention. I'm extremely frustrated by it. But we are in the middle of a battle with the agencies now. And I can tell you this. Walls agrees with me that this piddly, stupid stuff running small people out of business is terrible.
Yeah, because what you thought was terrible there was that these people were being investigated for fraud. And you later took $10,000 in campaign donations from these same individuals. Do you remember that?
I would disagree with that characterization entirely, sir.
I'm sure you would.
No, what I would-
because it's surely uncomfortable for you. But you took $10,000 from those same people
No,
that were
that-
ostensibly supposed to be investigated. Yeah.
No,
yeah.
that's actually inaccurate.
No, it's
sir.
not inaccurate. Well,
It is. First of all,
you're entitled to say it's inaccurate, but the facts are the facts.